spiel. What's up? Those of you who are waiting, welcome back to Jedi Jive Live, number 14. We're going to talk about Bad Batch Episode 2. Not a lot to talk about this week, but we're still going to nerd out anyway. So hang in there, going live in a few. Got the boys from All New Nerds here. Alright, we're going to go live.
I'm going to see these guys.
So welcome back, everybody. Jedi Jive Live. I already see Lavelle in the chat. What's up, buddy?
Hey,
Hustle
Lavelle
Mando is here. Hustle Mando.
too.
Dude, man, you are the
Boys.
Lavelle too is now here every week. We'll see who else shows up. But Hustle Mando, I think you have made every single one, and Angie too.
And
We love you.
they're
guys.
always over on our channel. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
got a
that's
good little
actually-
community we're building.
hell yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
kind of one thing I wanted to mention a
Great.
little bit of today was our the little sort of community that we're starting to build here. It's not necessarily, at first I was like, oh, it's East Coast, but obviously it's not because we got Levi here and we're open to anybody. But
And Mandy's way overseas.
Mandy's
Yeah.
in the UK. Yeah.
Yeah, but
We
I
had-
know-
we
I
had
don't
another
know
person
where-
on our.
you
other,
guys have had some
watch party
great
stream
guests
from
too.
the
You guys
UK.
have been talking to, you got Star Wars Only, and then you brought him over to my channel, and I was able
Yeah.
to talk to him. He's a fun guy. I'm glad I know him now. And you guys talked to Star Wars Santa, right?
Great
You've had
guys,
a
great.
sort of a string of new guests on your channel. And
Santa.
You got some more interviews coming down the pike too.
Nice.
Yeah, we
Well,
got
you
some-
want
we
to talk
got
about it?
some-
What do you got coming up?
Lined up. Oh,
Lined up.
Anything you can reveal
so
yet, or
I-
are you trying to
so
hold
on
that
Sunday? On Sunday, we're gonna be. Or actually, well, it'll be released Monday, but we are going to be interviewing the HoloNet Marauders. So
East Coast
AJ
boys.
and I believe-
And
Nice.
Hornet,
Another
I
idea.
they're
believe.
actually from.
In
Well, actually, I
Boston.
don't know if I want to say that.
Yeah.
But they're from Boston. So
His
Pretty
handle
cool,
is
yeah.
literally Boston Kylo. So
Yeah, they're very low.
Yeah, well,
loaded.
yeah, so we're very excited about that. We will have that up on Monday. So that'd be good.
Nice. Yes, dude. I
Fun
love that.
stuff,
Yeah,
fun
we've
stuff.
definitely.
But hey,
Mike,
Bad
I
Batch
think you're
episode
muted.
2. He is.
Oh,
He's
There we
down.
go. I'm not muted, am I?
No, you're
Not
good
anymore,
now.
not
You're
No,
good.
you're good.
You were.
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. It's telling me
Imagine
I'm muted.
Mike was muted the entire show. Owners are taking over. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
I don't know if we want to do that or not.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But Yeah, dude. I mean, Bad Batch episode 2, I think we'd all agree was like, it's not necessarily eventful. It's not the most eventful episode, but I think there's a lot to sort of unpack.
I don't know,
without unpacking.
I liked it more than the first one.
It had a lot of emotional
Really?
depth.
Wow.
It definitely had a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
emotional moments, particularly with Hunter and Omega. And I'm trying to say Omega because that's how she says
Omega.
it.
Well, it's
with her
correct,
accent.
actually.
Omega.
Omega. Kick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like there was I know my first reaction, and
Hick.
I think probably you
Hick.
guys would agree that there was like an immediate comparison I drew to Din and Grogu
Yeah.
between Hunter and Omega. And
Yeah.
it was
Definitely.
Well, Omega can talk, so that's a that's a,
Yeah,
that's a point
yeah,
for
but-
her. But yeah,
it's
I mean, it's
not
like the
exactly
father,
the same.
daughter, father,
But
son. Yeah.
I have to admit, at first, a little bit of me felt that it was like a little bit unearned, and that like we hadn't built up enough sort of like experience with either character yet for it to feel like it was paying off emotionally. So I feel like that would be my only critique of this episode, was that like I wish that this moment had dropped a little bit later, maybe like 3 or 4 episodes from now, when you've had a chance to build up a sense of their relationship with each other. But that's not to say that I didn't feel it, because I did. I felt like we are supposed to sense that relationship between them, and that's why you felt that similarity between Grogu and Din, as we did here. And
Yeah.
so I'm curious how you guys felt.
Well, after you pointed out to me one of the previous streams, you were talking about like the little quirks of animation, like that come in the later Clone Wars seasons, and now I'm like really watching for it.
Yes,
now.
dude. Awesome. I love hearing that. Awesome.
And there's a moment where Omega runs outside, and Hunter is sort of
the
watching,
dirt.
and like he turns and like does this like it's so human. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I was like, look at that. That's
Mhm.
great. That was like an actor.
I'm so happy to hear you say that you're noticing those little gestures now, because that's a huge part of like
It's a
that
huge
polished
thing.
level of animation that I was mentioning, where like you could tell in earlier seasons of the Clone Wars where George Lucas was just sort of, "Yeah, okay, that's good,
Right.
that'll work." Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Are
So
you
I
working
think
on
it
your
just
George Lucas impression?
Yeah, but I mean, like, it costs a lot of money to do these things. It's definitely not
Yeah.
cheap to make like
Animation
cinema
is-
level
is-
animation
is
like that. Yeah, and
expensive.
it's so seeing that extra spec, that means that they had to like run it through the animation pipeline like once, twice, three more. It costs more money. The animator has to polish it and spend more
Yeah.
time on it. And that, so it's. I'm glad to see that that art form is being elevated a little bit more here.
Speaking of pipeline, before we go further into discussion, so this is from StarWars.com. This is in the trivia, and like they do like an episode breakdown each week, and they post like Mike, I'm sure you're familiar with like breakdown of the models and like concept stuff.
Mhm.
For one, the Depa Balaba one is dated for March 29th, 2012 is when they made that model. Think about that.
Oh, had they
Wow.
not used it
Yeah.
in
For
the Clone Wars
Yeah,
previously?
Yeah, it was for Clone Wars. So that blue lightsaber, all that stuff was made for Clone Wars. So that sort of answers why it was the way
Okay.
it was.
Interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, 2012, and then the stuff like for the episode, February 2019. Think about how long ago February 2019 was, and that's when they
Wow.
had
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Commander Gray done and Kanan done, and all the stuff for Kamino and like Tarkin. This is all
Yeah.
early 2019. Like
Yeah.
that's wow. And I know we've talked about how much or how far out the animation pipeline sometimes goes, and that's why you have a lot of unfinished Clone Wars stuff. But like even still, it's just like wowza.
Yeah. I think though we've also pointed out how this specific Bad Batch type stuff was stuff that was kind of already supposed to be in the Clone Wars and never got a chance to, be made, never really got produced. So it was already kind of in the pipeline. Like you're saying, the rig, like that character was built back then, but it's like, yeah, essentially they've been preparing to do this since then.
Yeah.
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 Which helped. It's probably
2012.
one of the reasons why we can get like at least 14 episodes, right? Which is they're gonna have plenty of content.
Oh, it's 16.
Oh, it's 16? I thought it was
16 is
Yeah,
the confirmed.
it's
Yeah.
16.
even better. Yeah, even better. I wonder if there's just simply 2 episodes
Official.
that Kevin Kiner isn't
Official.
doing, and that's why he said 14, or if maybe he was still just
Maybe he
working
just
on
was
the last
working on
2.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
He said
Because-
up to 14 episodes. He didn't say. I think he.
Well,
I
just
think he-
usually score is one of the last thing that happens on the
Yeah.
production.
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
something, and he was. If this
I
was
think he
months
was.
ago,
I think he was finishing
so
up.
he
Yeah.
was probably just finishing up.
Yeah.
But Mike, talking about the 16 though, if the first episode was like 70, that's like worth 3. If the finale is any
Yeah.
longer, then it's essentially like a 22 episode worth
Exactly.
of content.
Right.
Yeah, and we also
Well,
don't know that the final episode isn't a long one too. Or
Exactly.
Yeah.
The,
which would
the
be
Clone
great.
Wars mentality was always kind of why do in 1, but what you can do in 4, So like that's kind of like the first episode is kind of like 3 arcs there, or maybe not 3. It's 1 arc, but that's 3 episodes, essentially.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like there's more than enough story for them to not need any filler. They shouldn't need any filler. I would feel like if they were, because now that we know that they are touching on Clone Wars stuff, they're bringing characters like Cutler Quain back that you
Rex.
wouldn't,
Right.
it's, who's like not like he's not a major character in any way. He's just like sort of like a side character from way
One
earlier on
episode.
in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have to
He
think
is
that
beloved.
can repeat that pattern and take some other storyline from and that no, this isn't Clone Wars season 8, but we are getting those little nuggets that are the tie-ins, and that makes
Right.
me feel like okay, at no point should we have anything like, I don't want to use space whales as the example, but like that's kind of the term that the
Purgle.
online Star Wars YouTubers have been using for a while in terms of the like, okay, that's the like Filoni is having a little too much freedom. And I don't want there to be 16 episodes of Bad Batch and then have us feel like that, oh, we wasted 4 doing that kind of Martez sisters kind of stuff where it's not terrible,
I don't think
but
I don't think the
let's
show's
get
gonna
to
be like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
and not
know.
as-
I think that even these first 2 episodes have proven that like right off the bat
Yeah.
we got Jedi, we got lightsabers. Well, that answers that question. We didn't even
I mean,
know if we were gonna get
the-
lightsabers.
The next one's description, like when I first read it, I was like, okay, here's the filler episode. But I mean, again, with only 16 episodes, like no filler will probably be too like surface level fillery. You know, there's always going to be something there that's going to
It's
progress the
something
story.
about them being trapped on like a moon.
They're
Right?
just it just says they're trapped on a desolate
Yes,
moon, which
but
which a
the
million
key-
things can
The
happen. on
key
that
is the
desolate
episode
moon.
is called Replacements, which is definitely it's about because we didn't see
I
Crosshair at
think we're
all
gonna
this episode.
see.
It's
We're gonna
Right.
see these
gonna be
guys.
the elite troopers and,
And-
Crosshair being the replacements for the
Yep.
Bad Batch.
That's
hunting them down.
something I think we needed in this episode a little bit was them. Like, I know they acknowledged Crosshair like once, but it didn't really seem like they cared all that much about like
Yeah.
their brother that just kind
Well,
of
they're on a
betrayed them.
mission. They're trying to. They want to get them back.
No, it's true, but
No, but I
it's-
think Dylan's just saying like there should be like just a little more emotional weight attached to that because they've been together for so long. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm just
agree.
surprised there wasn't like a more of a moment there for.
know.
And then we'll probably get that in the next episode if he ends up showing up, like or when they
Well,
confront
they're
him or
definitely gonna
talk
cross.
to him.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna cross.
Yeah. But
for sure.
I never
So-
took the Bad Batch for characters to have emotions in the sense that like they're brooding over what happened. Like they're always going to be trying to do the next thing, trying to solve the problem, trying to go. I mean,
Right, but when it
they've
comes
been
to each
bred and
other, I
born
feel
for
like-
war.
you know, they're kind of like brothers. You know,
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
I
I
think
think
it's a-
about,
Crosshair
like,
was
it's a
sort of on
small-
the outs with them.
it's a small gripe, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's
I think
nothing
about like
major.
Rex with Fives, like he like held on to that for so long. So I just feel like I wish we got a little more like.
Well, I
personal
think those are
into it.
different characters.
Johnny, was that
That's
a
true.
death
I'm
trooper
just
you
saying-
held up?
It was
Yeah,
the
no, this
elite
is the
squad
elite trooper. This is what we're gonna see. Next
Oh,
episode.
okay. So wait, because I know some people have been pointing out that Crosshair came back in all black, and that it was like, ooh,
Yeah,
seemed like the
yeah,
first
these are the
Death Trooper.
troopers that are gonna be with him. These
elite
guys.
trooper. Nice.
elite
Yep.
troopers. Those are cool.
Yep. See, they
Who
get the
are-
clone helmet.
They
so
do
they
have. I
are-
was just about to
they're-
say it's got the clone helmet.
I
Yeah.
love
Are
the green
according to
guys
guys.
Hasbro
are-
though, who are according to Hasbro though, those are the first enlisted recruits of the Empire. Like Tarkin,
Yeah.
according to the back of the box, Tarkin is like, "All right, Crosshair, you're pretty cool. Now I want to show the Kaminoans that just people can work too.
Okay, so they're not clones.
So they're not clones. That's why they're
No,
called
these are
Elite
not
Squad
clones.
Troopers.
Yeah.
Got it.
Not-
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. These are
Yeah.
whoever. These are whoever. So.
I always thought it was interesting. You don't really hear anything about like elite level forces that much in the original trilogy. You do kind of see like those red guards that are like, ooh, are they like
Yeah.
you
The
know,
royal guards, yeah.
commandos or whatever? But really, stormtroopers just always like the standard like disposable. They don't even look like they're good at their job kind of guy. But then like by the time we ended up getting to like Rogue One and you start seeing these like death troopers and stuff, it starts making more sense that there would be there's like the massive amounts of stormtroopers, and Tarkin has already shown that they're ready to save money by just like, no, we can't pay for
Yeah.
clones anymore. We want
Well, yeah, it's interesting because they pop up in Rebels and then in Mando.
yeah,
So.
but there's still elite
Yeah.
forces in the background that we don't necessarily like see or
Right,
hear about in
yeah.
the original trilogy. But it's like, no, they don't just
Yeah,
suck
yeah.
because they're Empire. They suck because they're like they're cops for hire. They're literally just
Right.
running cops.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
But back to the
Yeah.
episode, like I was saying that I enjoyed this episode actually more than the first one. I think it's largely
Really?
I largely has to do with
Felt like a
seeing
Rebels episode.
it did, and I'm a big fan of Rebels.
I agree. That's a good point. Yeah.
And that's sort of what I was trying to say earlier about like how I don't think there's gonna be any filler. Like the way Rebels was, not that there wasn't filler, but because the story was being told chronologically, almost everything had relevance at some point because of the way it built character and tied back into the story.
Well,
And
this
so
show's
when-
gonna be chronologically, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That's what he
Yeah,
said.
oh, okay,
And
alright.
because it's like Rebels in that way, and like even an
I see, I
episode
see.
like this, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's all relevant to the story at all times. And when you had
Yeah.
arcs in the Clone Wars, that's where you had the opportunity to have that filler stuff because it could be
Mhm.
totally disconnected. It could be literally
Right.
entirely disconnected from the thing that came before and the thing that comes after. And you can't do that here. Everything has to tie
Right.
into the story. So seeing the characters in the world, and if you notice, Aiden in our chat has been pointing this out, and David W. Collins has been tweeting about it. But like, there's a lot of sound Easter eggs in this, and in this, when like Cut and Hunter are going to town, there's like New Hope stuff, and like it's just very. This is all very Star Wars to me. This was just like peak.
Is there like a specific sound Easter egg that you can think of?
Yeah, when they're walking into town, and like it's the land speeder is coming out. It's like
Yeah.
the exact same as.
Okay, I
New Hope
cut it out
Q.
of my reaction, but my reaction was like, that was Luke, the same land speeder as Luke's, because
Yeah,
it
well,
was
then they
the
use-
sound that. But
Yeah, they use. The
I
same
looked at
sound
it frame
cue.
by frame. It's not the same speeder though. It looks
No.
a
But
little
it's the
similar.
same sound cue.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's the same sound cue as when they're
Yeah,
walking
Levi
into Mos
pointed that
Eisley.
out while we were watching it on the watch party.
And then there's
Very
there's
cool.
like extended stuff from the games, there's stuff from Jedi Fallen Order and
Mhm.
Force Unleashed, but like stuff from A New Hope is clearly like meant to immerse you into like, oh, okay, this is a Star Wars world, kind of
Right.
deal. And then
Cool.
seeing the chain code thing and having that explained for Mando, 'cause
That
that's
was
always been a
cool,
question
yeah.
for
Admiral
Mando,
Rampart, Vice Admiral
like
Rampart.
what's
Yeah,
the
that's a
chain
good
code?
point. I feel like you could kind of like infer everything about what a chain code was, kind of from Mando, but not necessarily that it
Well, the,
like
the, the
it
question
also.
was the question was why didn't Grogu have one in Mando? It was like everyone's got one but him.
Oh
And
no,
the
Grogu had one, but he said he could only give him the last 4 digits of it. It was more like he couldn't give him the usual
yeah, the
data that he
age. It was
gives
like
him.
he's like no chain code, and he was like, yeah, just the age. He's like the trekking fob. I don't know. I felt like Grogu had some sort of funky thing with the chain code, and it makes sense
No,
because he wouldn't be
100%. It was just him
he wouldn't
being
be
like, "No, I'm not giving you all his information. This is a back alley deal. It's black market job I'm giving you." That's why it was like there's only
Mm,
the chit that he had to give him or whatever was like access to a room. It wasn't that there was no tracking fob or like.
no, I disagree. But we don't. I
So
don't
the
get
last
hung
4
up on
digits
that.
of his chain code are 0050. He's 50 years old.
I don't want to get hung up on this because I disagree with that. But you're definitely correct that like there are something. The Mandalorian set up this thing chain codes, and it was cool
Yeah.
to see like explain. Okay, the Empire is registering everybody. Like that's why bounty hunters can use them to track people, and like
Yeah.
it makes sense. And Tech talks about it like
Yeah,
could
they
build a
actually put it in
database.
like physical form in this episode too. They literally made it like a fake ID that they had to make.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
they
scene where the
literally
guy
got
was
fake
scanning
IDs.
it in the booth reminded me so much of Solo when they're like handing
Yeah,
her
same.
the,
Yeah,
Same, like,
yeah, it was
tray
even
thing.
like
the fuel through the drawer.
that tray
Yeah.
Oh, I
looks
wish
so
they played.
like
I wish they played the Imperial music like they played in Solo in that scene, like the theme.
yeah, like
But
the,
that checkpoint definitely had the same exact like Imperial
Right.
vibe to it. That was
that tray
Yeah.
seems so like funky. Like it seems so too manual, you know? Like I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't seem like it's like an automatic thing. It was just seemed like I don't know, caveman.
I don't know, but to sort of
Star
finish my
Wars.
point about why I loved it so much, like the characters weren't, and the last episode was already starting to rectify this issue for me. But like in the Clone Wars season 7, they all felt sort of like, cookie cutter, cutouts of these stereotypes of characters. And in this episode, they didn't feel as much like that. Like Wrecker in this episode was not super over the top, but he had some great like small character moments that were just really like endeared me to him. And he was just a cooler guy. He wasn't like the
He
big
wanted to blow
wacky
Little
Yeah,
guy.
kids
yeah.
were like Uncle Wrecker, and they're
Yeah,
like,
like that was
Yeah.
giving him a
so
hug.
cute. That was like the
Yeah.
cutest
was
thing.
great.
I also I really liked everything with Omega in this episode. Like I thought she was done. She was like
The dirt scene
I
was
feel like
good.
it was her episode mostly in my opinion anyways, but also the Bad Batch as a whole. But yeah, everything with the dirt and everything with her, like being told to go with Cut, she doesn't want to go with Cut. I thought everything was that was great.
Well, she just obeys orders. So that's what I kind of find interesting too about that. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Similar,
There were
to
definitely multiple
Bad Batch
points in
works.
this episode where she like it was like I could out loud I was like ugh, like she would do something stupid, like she went past the fence and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
next
yeah.
suit creature came to get her. Yeah, and then at the end, like when they didn't make it clear whether or not she just like asked Cut and Sue whether she was allowed, like, can I please not go with
I
you?
think
and
Sue
leave?
let her go.
Yeah, okay, because they just show her kind of like looking like that or whatever.
Yeah, I
like,
thought she just like snuck off.
but I'm
and
like,
then
did
they,
she just like
forgot she was
bounce
there?
like because they said she could? Like,
No, there's a-
why
there's
would
a-
they
there's
let her
a-
do that?
There's a
they
shot
just got
reverse shot of Sue, and Sue's like,
Yeah, because Hunter like specifically just like entrusted her safety to them. So for them to just kind of like let her run back through town and like possibly get
I
killed
think
seems
I think
kinda
Sue
like,
I think Sue knew what was up. I mean, she the whole
Yeah.
time was like, "You sure you want that?" And I was like, "Nah." Like, I don't think Cut had anything to do with it, but Sue, I think it was Sue.
yeah, that's true.
Right.
They definitely
I-
should. Yeah,
Shout out to Good Guy Cut, by the way. Great dad.
Cut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah,
their
Cut's
family.
a
I
great
love it.
guy, man.
Hunter
They're
started
like
like
little
yelling at
Waynes.
Omega like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Whoa, cool off, bro. She's not a soldier." Like,
not a soldier. She's
Yeah,
kid,
then
yeah.
I don't.
gave
So
her
I
a
don't
hug.
recall what planet was Cut going to next. I don't remember.
He didn't
This
say.
say?
Did they say?
he
didn't
didn't
say.
say.
He
No.
just
said
he,
no.
he just wanted to get off world.
Well, actually,
period.
I just thought about this. The transport that they went on was the Star Tours ship.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
was
was
it?
it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It is.
Yeah.
We see
Yeah.
it in Rebels too.
Yeah.
Mandy
yeah.
said, "I'm hoping they bump into Rex in the next episode." And I guess
Yeah,
we
that's the
hear
idea. That's
Rex's
the
name
idea.
got dropped by Cut, and then they talked about him briefly, right? So I
Well,
was actually
there's
under the
another thing.
impression
There's
that
another poster for Fennec Shan, so I think might see her next ep.
Did you guys catch
be
that
honest.
little episode 3 trailer that they put out?
No, but I saw I saw the little poster. But
I
Oh,
don't
is
think
that
I
what
don't
it
think I
was?
don't
It
think
was-
it's indicative of anything because the one they put up before this episode had almost
I mean,
no
they've showed
footage from
Fennec
this
in every
episode.
trailer. So
I saw one that was like,
I-
check out
it-
Star Wars
no.
That's
Coffee.
true.
I saw one on that channel that has like, whoa, it looked like it had a lot of new creatures, some new.
I know
Like
there's
the-
too
the
much.
Bad
There's the
Batch
baby
are gonna start-
Rancor, and then there's the Zygeria
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and then there's another planet, and then they go get hired, and then there's Fennec
Yeah,
Shan. I'm like, it's
that's
too
what I'm
much.
saying.
Like, it's,
It
Yeah, there's
not-
like
that's-
4 higher, and then there's Mercenaries was one of them.
looks like
And-
they're gonna go take a bounty to like make some money or something, or start do a
Right.
job.
But,
Yeah.
but the thing is though, we know that the plot of the next episode is that they get trapped on a moon,
right,
and that
yeah.
someone's hunting them down. So like we
Oh.
know that stuff isn't really even
Right.
representative of what we're gonna see.
Sure. I
Right.
feel like
Yeah.
they dropped Rex's name last episode, so it might make sense to see him next episode.
I think they're gonna let that.
Oh yeah, that was really
They could
interesting.
have.
Like imagine like Rex like going to cut and be like kind of freaking out. Like, this is what happening.
Yeah,
oh,
the
we're all
chips.
returning. Yeah.
Do you
Cool.
really
Right.
feel like any Rex showing up is going to even be a reveal at all? Like they're not going to make that big.
I
of
mean,
a
the
deal,
trailer
this is
didn't make
gonna
it seem
be-
like it was going to be a big
Yeah.
deal. But
Yeah, they
it's-
wouldn't
it-
have shown him at all at the trailer if they wanted to
Yeah,
have
I
it be
think it's
like
just gonna
a
be
like
here he is.
yeah.
It's gonna be
And-
like-
Because it's not like
speaking-
he's a character we haven't seen for a while. Like technically, we saw him at the end of season 7, like the
Right.
person we leave with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been too long.
And speaking of cut, this is there's a couple of theories I've heard over the past few days that have been really interesting. But on the point of cut, like him, why he doesn't have Order 66 activated, like him being out of the Clone War for so long, because right, he was out almost immediately, like within the first few months, and like him becoming so his own person and living his own life and just being this guy. Like it just doesn't work anymore. Like he's broke so free of that
He's
programming.
like
that was-
naturally deprogrammed.
You're muted,
Yeah.
Mike. You're muted.
Oh. It's like automatically muting me for some
Yeah,
reason.
it
That's
must have.
very
Yeah,
strange.
He's
yeah.
like he's naturally deprogrammed.
Yeah,
I
he's
think.
naturally deprogrammed
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
which is
I
really
did think
stuff.
about though.
It
I
was
thinking,
interesting
I wonder
this
why cut
episode.
didn't flip, but then I
Yeah, I
be...
still think, and I've always thought it's like you sort of need to hear the order, and I don't know if it would get to him, but
Yeah.
again, I don't know. Like maybe I can buy into that too. That he's just been so disconnected from it so long. He's really developed himself past the war. Like he's not a soldier anymore.
Well, do you
And
think
it
if he
just
heard
doesn't
the
affect
order,
him.
he would turn?
Well, maybe Rex, like since Rex, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Oh,
I don't
maybe
know what would
maybe
happen,
because
but-
he saw Rex, maybe they took out, but they probably.
But
would've
yeah,
said
but that's
something.
after Order 66. So like Order
I just
66
think-
would have
I
already
just think the
happened.
simplest thing is that he's in such a different mental state than all of
Right.
these other clones that it wouldn't even matter
Hmm.
at this point. It's
Okay.
been so many years of him living a different way and
Yeah, but
forging
he
his
still
own
has the
path.
chip, though. I mean, like that doesn't really matter.
Well, yeah, but think about like Rex was able to at least for
Yeah,
some
Rex was able
time,
to shake
like,
it off, and that
Yeah, at least for a little bit. So Cut, who has
And
nothing to
in
do
the
with the war,
in the
doesn't.
and in the Kanan
Okay.
comic, Johnny, which those issues are still canon. Styles
Yeah,
and Graves able to
yeah,
shake it
yeah,
off.
yeah.
Like if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
think
yeah.
about it
You're right,
enough,
you're right.
like they are at this point, and we see this in the
Well, we don't know
episodes,
the longevity of the. Yeah, I guess
the
I-
clones
yeah.
are like sort of like just flesh robots right now.
Yeah,
Ain't great. Like
right.
they're
Yeah.
they're not themselves. But if someone
Right.
like brings that person, you can like shake them out of it. You know, we've seen that examples of that. And so if Cut was like never in it to
Yeah.
begin with, like if he was out of it even before, like he didn't see anything. And so I feel like he would be unaffected by it.
Right.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about some
Huh?
of the other clones that we've mentioned, like Wolf and Gregor, that we know have like a story that could be told here?
They should
And
be told,
another
yeah.
thing that
Well, I
I was
wanna
wondering,
talk about
Levi, I'm sure you'll be able
Echo,
to
actually.
answer, is
I think
how are we
Echo kind of acted weird.
how
he
are we
acted a
supposed to
little-
know how the Bad Batch even know Cut and Sue?
That's
Right.
a good point.
Yeah, I don't think that'll get explained unless like with Rex, so like we talk to Cut and then he's like, how do you know Cut? And then they have a thing. But in terms of like Wolf and Gregor, their characters, yeah, I don't know. If it did happen, it would happen within the like Rex story, you know, when we see Rex and then he's like, I'm going to find my brothers or whatever. But I don't know if it will happen in the Bad Batch. Like that story being told.
Yeah, I mean, and Mike, and you asking about when it happened. I mean, we know that from the Bad Batch arc, it's been about 6 months. And from then until Revenge of the Sith, by what they say in the beginning, they're like, it's been 205 rotations or whatever by standard galactic time, or 180, then 205 adjusted.
It would have had to have been Rex that told them then, probably.
And I'm saying in that time, if they're doing a mission and they're like,
Yeah.
in that time, Rex probably could have set them up with him if they needed help with something or staying
Yeah.
somewhere. Or I don't
It
know,
did
there's
seem a little bit convenient story wise to be like, well, how do they know? But then and also they're mutual friends with Rex, so that would be
I think they just know Rex.
yeah. And was it
Right.
Mandy or I think maybe Hustle asking, I think it was Hustle who asked, do we think that Rex and Ahsoka are still going to be
Yeah, he did.
together?
No, because isn't this the
Well,
time
if the Ahsoka book,
a novel?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh, I don't
believe-
even think it.
but
I don't
they've
even think
proved
it's the
they can
book.
also. Yeah, they've also proved that they're willing to rewrite or
Yeah.
redo stuff that comes
I
from
don't
the
even think
canon
it's-
stuff.
I don't even think it's a
Yeah, I-
book. I just think that they went different ways after.
It's
a
one of
certain
those
point.
things where they both
Yeah.
mutually understand that they can't stay together
Yeah.
just because they make each situation more dangerous.
and
for
more
each other.
dangerous. And Ahsoka,
So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean they're
yeah.
hunting. Yeah, right.
and Ahsoka in the book and in the show in season 7 is like she puts down the lightsabers. She's
Yeah.
like, I gotta die. In that moment in her life, she's like, I'm dead.
I gotta
Like,
die.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
like she's like, I'm gone. If
It's
they
the end.
Yeah.
I'm buried. I'm gone. In the novel,
Yeah.
they fake
You
their deaths,
vanish.
and in this, she drops the lightsabers. They bury all the clones. Like I think they go separate ways. I think, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not ruling out seeing her in the show. I think that's still possible.
Like maybe
But-
Rex has to call her up or something and be like, "Yo,
I
like,
don't
there's
think-
some
I don't
real
think-
issue,
I
but-
wouldn't-
Yeah, I think she's definitely gonna be in the show, but I don't know when or how.
I mean, it's definitely possible, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's too likely.
Yeah, if it works with the story, I'm all for it. Definitely
Right.
don't
Right,
need to have
right.
her because we would have said the same thing for Mandalorian season 2. Like we don't need all these cameos, but then
Yeah.
the story just made perfect sense to where we're like, hey, that's fine with me
Yep.
because
Yep.
it just
Exactly.
It just worked. And the other
Yeah.
theory that I've been hearing is about Omega. And so someone on TikTok, I've forgotten who, but they have pointed out that maybe Omega's like power is that she's has like a photographic memory or like photosensitivity, and she can look
Seen
at stuff
that one,
and,
yeah.
and copy it.
She
that's
adapts to
why that's why she's like copying Hunter and stuff. And that's why like in the
Oh.
first episode, this person pointed out that when Tech is punching in like buttons into the Havoc Marauder, that's their ship, like to go into hyperspace, like she's staring at him, and like they show that like that she's staring at him, and then she shoots the blaster like super precise, and like she watches Crosshair do it.
Well,
Yep.
able to do
also
it.
think about like with Hunter, how she's always copying his moves and stuff.
Yeah,
like I
that's
feel
what I'm
like
saying,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like
That's
maybe her
cool.
power is that she's just
She's like a chameleon
photo
chameleon clone.
Chameleon
So wait,
clone.
there was
I
a
can buy
scene
into
with
that.
Omega in this episode where she like it's kind of like after I think it's right after maybe it's right after she gets attacked and she's just feeling kind of like by that creature and whatever. She ends up in the ship and she takes her little jewelry off and her hair comes down.
Yeah,
finally. And she
I
has
don't
like a
know
little
what that
emotional moment with
symbol
herself.
is.
I don't think that
I
thing
don't-
has any meaning.
the anime.
No, I don't. It's literally
that's-
just the Camino. It doesn't have the Camino symbol or whatever. It's
I,
what
yeah,
represents-
I kind of read that moment as her like having
Missing
like
home.
her sense of belonging. Yeah, like where she doesn't know where she
Yeah.
belongs right now.
the
'cause
moment
that's-
definitely has some.
She wants to
some
be part of the Bad
meaning,
Batch, but they haven't fully accepted her as like part of the team yet because they're still trying to like leave her here or whatever. And Hunter just like yelled at her outside,
right.
and then yeah,
I mean,
but
she's
she's
a-
Magic's
she's a
fine.
kid.
I don't think they're gonna retcon the novelist necessarily. I mean, again, I don't know if she's even gonna be in the show, but I think it's gonna be like somewhere.
yeah.
after.
Hustle says that Cut said that the Kaminoans had to have made Omega for a purpose. Yeah,
Purpose.
that was
That
was
Yeah.
too, yeah.
They're
one of
really
those lines
leaning
where you're
into that.
like, "What are you saying?" They're saying something between the lines there. Yeah,
To
little
Levi's point
foreshadowing.
too, she figured out how to throw that ball pretty quick, and I mean she threw it hard over the fence. So like,
True.
yeah,
Yeah.
she definitely learns fast.
Yeah, she's like, what is the purpose of this? Scanning,
Yeah.
initiate, ball throw.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And she can also just be a kid, But
True,
in terms
yeah.
in terms of the like her amulet thing on her head, I think that just represents Camino and where she's been her entire life.
Right,
And she's taken
yeah.
it off and she's like both homesick and like, do I belong here? And like, should I go
Yeah.
back? And it's
do you think we'll even maybe end up back at Camino at some point for some reason? Maybe like to get answers.
Maybe they
Maybe
get like
e-
captured again or something.
Maybe even Omega
Mhm.
doesn't really know why she is the way she is, and she
I would-
wants to
I would
find
like to
out.
see some-
Kind of.
we know
Do you
at least-
think-
You know, like
Camino
stealth,
belongs.
like stealth mission kind of break.
Do you think her her photographic
That'd be cool.
memory
like a stealth
thing-
mission.
Do you think her photographic memory or whatever you want to call it goes so deep that like that's why she was able to read Crosshair's mind almost about what she was about to do is that she's able to like get, I don't know how to explain this, like put herself with them so much that like she knows like what they're thinking even. I don't know if that plays into that or not, but
I mean, maybe. But I think at this point, it's definitely being set up that there is an answer to this, like a definitive answer. Like,
Definitely, yeah.
this isn't a situation where they're just with a show. When you plan out a season, it's a little bit different than when you're doing like movies, or for example. So there is they are teasing us, and there's a definitive answer. I'm confident that we're going to get this season about what is Omega's purpose.
100%. Yeah, they've been like without even the internet, like you could watch the show and be like, oh, there's some secret to Omega, or like there's something that they are keeping from us.
They've made like
there's something she's
points
even
about
keeping, sort of. It's kind of interesting that she talked about the chips in this episode and didn't think to bring it up before at all. But like the time she brought it up, and they were like, I don't.
She
remember
wasn't
the
there
scene
before.
exactly.
She wasn't there.
That's true. Yeah. So,
but like in terms of this episode, though, to go back, like we didn't see Crosshair at all this episode. We didn't see the Kaminoans, who are definitely doing some shady shit behind the scenes. We didn't see Tarkin at all, and so like, to me, that stuff. That's what we're getting next episode. That's desperate. They're hunting down the Bad Batch now. Like we're gonna see the second inciting incident, so to speak, of like Bad Batch are gone, hunt them down. Because we don't actually have that scene yet. We know that's in the trailers. We know that's like the plot of the show is that they're being hunted.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that start.
And just like Inquisitors hunting down Jedi, like Crosshair hunting down his own brethren. Yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
we know he's willing to kill them because he shot at he shot at them, and he shot
Well, he got his
Wrecker.
chip all
right,
turned
exactly.
up,
I'm
so
just saying, like,
he's willing to
there's
do anything.
there's no like going back right now anyways, like in the state he's in. Do you think he's gonna be the one that kills any of the Bad Batch, any of his brothers?
I
It's a
don't
tough
want to
question.
say, because I think we know from that maybe leak that came out
I'm sorry?
who he does kill. We don't
Do we?
want to. Yeah,
Well,
I don't want.
am I
I
missing
have an
something?
opinion about who he's going to kill, but I think it might be a spoiler.
I
so
think
don't
I'm
wanna
missing
say it.
something, so
No,
I don't know
not.
what you're talking about.
You've seen the spoiler, but I because Mike isn't in that spoiler, isn't it on Seleucumai? And like they just
Yeah,
left
well,
Seleucumai.
yeah, I assume that was already
Do
not
you want to find it?
right, because we just
Yeah, I
is
thought
that
that was
everything
like
with cut and
kind of
stuff.
I know, but I mean, yeah,
like,
that
not
was before the
confirmed.
whole Cut LaQuaine thing was like officially like, okay, now we know like Cut.
However, on the point of that, in the Aftermath novels, Cut LaQuaine is talked about as being back on Seleucumai. He's like old man Cut, so at some point he might
okay.
return to his home. And
yeah,
like,
because
Right.
another character another named clone who we feel pretty confident should show up at some point is Cody, and he was part of that situation.
Right.
Did we see
With-
these? Sorry to interrupt. I'm just looking through stuff. Did we see the Andor pictures? With the sand troop? Oh, it's not the sand troopers. The shore troopers.
I mean, I've been looking at them. I don't know if you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been seeing tons of Andor stuff.
I
and
didn't know.
I mean, it's cool to see. It's just
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of tweets
I-
about how Andor
I've
looks
seen
like
a couple
a
of them,
buddy
but
cop
I haven't
film
seen
with
all of
with a short trooper and Cassian. And I love those tweets. They look
Yeah.
I saw they didn't
Yeah,
they
yeah.
confirm though that Alan Tudyk K2SO does not
He's
appear in it
not-
at all.
Yeah.
Which was really
They
like,
said
wait,
they
what?
said not until the second season is what.
That's
Yeah.
okay,
Right.
I guess. Maybe they want to like
I know.
make.
But they were
something of
still
their-
even vague then, right?
They
They
didn't
didn't
wanna, like,
specifically
I don't
say
know.
second season,
Well,
right?
Well, no, he said later in the show's life. I mean,
Right,
there's going to
yeah,
be a
yeah.
second season. So
Yeah.
this season.
Oh,
has
is
You
that
would
what he
assume it
said? I
would
thought
be
he
at the
said
point where like he is an Imperial robot, and then Cassian like takes him and hacks him. Like, and
Well,
that would
this
be
is
their-
this is the thing. So the show announced in announced in Iger announced it was all sort of off the cuff in like 2018, but we first officially get it in 2019 at the D23, I believe. Yeah, it was D23, and that's when you had like Alan Tudyk and Diego Luna walk out on stage, being like,
I know. Oh my
yeah,
God.
but you hear me out here. From then until production,
Wasn't it
the
called
show-
Cassian 2SO?
the show? Yes, it was.
Oh
The
my
show
God.
went through a lot of rewrites. Tony Gilroy came in, and the show totally got reworked. And so,
Mhm.
and like that's when the Jason Bourne people and the Americans people came
That's
in
right.
and started working on it. And personally, if it was first going to be like a buddy cop comedy kind of deal, and they changed it to a thrilling, spy tale, I much prefer the second, and I don't care
Yeah, I'm
if
cool with
K2SO
that.
Yeah.
isn't in it. Like
Yeah.
I want the superior story, and I trust.
And then we
Tony
also get to see
Gilroy.
the origin
do
of
that.
how they meet.
I was kind of
like-
hoping for like a James Bond almost kind of thing.
I think that's what we're gonna get. I
Seems
think
Seems
that's
that
what we're
way,
gonna
yeah.
get.
Yeah.
From these pictures, from the
And would
stuff.
would it be like Mon Mothma basically would be like M, or
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah,
Oh,
who would
yeah.
be like the
Yeah,
Judy
yeah.
Dench character
But
like
I
being like
Mhm.
I think
go
we're also
run
going to
this
see
errand
kind of
for
the
me.
the darker side, yeah, of the rebellion. Sort
Yeah.
of not so far, not so much like Saw Gerrera type stuff, but I forget his name. The guy in Rogue One that was kind of an asshole, that was a rebel.
Yeah. This is why I want them to do Dark
General
Disciple so
Draven.
badly, because
Yeah,
Dark Disciple has the Jedi basically like recruiting Asajj Ventress and Voss to like go
Assassinate
do
Dooku.
shit that should, I don't want to like spoil the book.
Well,
but
no,
yeah,
that's
it's
the
like,
plot of the book, and that's
yeah,
the,
okay,
the
so it's
plot
like
of
they're
Quinlan
like
Voss says.
technically this is not the Jedi way. We should not be like hiring you.
Yeah,
to go
I don't know how that story
kill
goes, but
somebody, but
that's that. I
they're like, we have no option. Dooku has
Yeah,
to die,
no,
so they
that,
like
that whole thing with Dooku going to assassinate, or rather Quinlan going to assassinate Dooku
Yeah,
has been
but it also,
Quinlan
like,
Voss's story since like 2002. So
it
it's,
really shows the dark, like particularly Yoda and Mace Windu. The like, dude, they're kind of shady. They do their own back alley shit. Those two, like Mace Windu and Yoda, they're not straight all the time. They'll do stuff that they say that they're against, and it's a big hypocritical moment
They'll
right
do what it
before the
takes,
Jedi
yeah.
fall, and it's almost like they're the Jedi are their own.
And yeah,
they're their own worst enemy.
and Dylan, I heard you mention how Cassian and K2 meet, and that actually is covered in a comic, and I feel that that'll probably be retconned yet again. However,
Yeah.
it also might be the case that just to completely in part of the rewrites, just to completely avoid that whole thing, he's just not going to be in the show. This is all going to be set before that,
right. Yeah.
showing a totally different side. Because you said it too close to Rogue One, and you got K2 there. Then it just becomes like a Rogue One prequel show, and I don't think they
Right,
want to
yeah.
do that.
Yeah,
I think they
don't
really
wanna
want
do
to.
that, yeah.
I think they want to tell a different
establish
story.
Cassian like in the first season. That's similar to like Mando, like it didn't get too crazy with like you established in. I think it's gonna be similar with establishing.
I think they want to
Then
tell
they'll
a
go into
different
other
story here.
things.
How many
Yeah.
years before Rogue One is it supposed to start?
I'm looking that up right now.
I think it's supposed to be like 5 or more years even, which is tough because Diego Luna is already like 5 years older. than
It
when
has
the
been
movie came
confirmed that
out.
it'll take place 5 years before.
5. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, you
are
know,
they gonna have to kind of like
that-
not necessarily de-age
Yeah.
him? But
I'm excited.
like,
It's gonna be.
And
I don't know,
like,
I
think
think-
about
I
this.
I think
Here's
a
the
lot
one
of
for you.
people are hyped for it, and that kind of includes.
This is even before that the rebellion is officially
Sorry.
a thing. So like this is dark. This is dark stuff. This is going to be like some seedy, shady
Exactly.
James Bond
Yeah.
type stuff.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
this is
use
bef-
kind of a familiar character as the perception or the narrator, I guess.
because this
to,
guy,
like,
this guy's
see all
rebel
this crazy
intelligence.
stuff.
This is before like the Rebel Alliance even exists.
wait, 5 years before Rogue One is essentially like where we start Rebels.
Exactly. And in
That's the
Rebels,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
see Mon Mothma declare the Alliance to restore the Republic.
So I wonder if some of those early Rebels seasons type things might tie in a little bit. You know, like
Maybe.
the governor, what's her name?
Price.
Governor Price. Yeah, like that would
Right.
be a great character to
That'd
like.
be cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm also
have her be
thinking
one
how
of
much
his like enemies.
thinking how much of like obviously he can have arcs, but he can't have so much of an arc that it's like I'm willing to disobey my orders sometimes, because that's kind of what he has in Rogue One, you know.
Well, I
when
don't
he
think we're
doesn't
getting that.
shoot.
I think we'll get those arcs with other characters, but I think
Yeah.
Cassian's going to be.
You think he's full on like
It's
through
that
the-
it's that
the
James
whole
Bond type thing though with the license to kill. It's that kind of like that's already part of his job. Like
right,
Mon
yeah.
Mothma like knows he has to go kill people. Like, but he's a necessary weapon in order
Necessary
to
evil,
get the
yeah.
job done. Like, and that's part of the why I was connecting it to like Yoda and Mace Windu, where it's like even the good guys need to do shady shit and like
Kate
know that.
Blanchett as Price.
Ooh,
Could see that.
That's a
Game
good
guy.
call.
Game guy. Thanks for that.
although she looks exactly like that in the Indiana Jones Crystal Skull movie, right?
Yeah,
She
dude,
has the, like-
Irina Spalko.
Yeah.
that's basically Governor Price right there, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
True. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very true.
that
But
works though. That's awesome.
This being
Yeah.
5 years before is a long time before when K2SO comes into the scene. in
Oh, okay.
Cassian's life. So, I mean, think about this. 5 years is a long ass time. Like this is like before, yeah, like I said, before the Rebel Alliance even exists. This is like the cell stage where they're all just
Right.
individual cells and like. So I think this is
Do-
really going to be some, as we've all said. I think it's gonna be more like oh my god,
Jason
Born Ultimatum,
Bourne?
like the Born
Yeah.
movies.
Oh sure, yeah.
I think it's gonna be more like that than James Bond. But yeah, so from these set photos, and I don't know, I guess you haven't seen them, Mike. There's a lot of them, but there's one. It's like Cassian trying to like sneak into a place, and there's like shore
Yeah,
troopers,
dude,
and
if
it's like
I
on a
want to pull it
beach.
up, I have a video.
I feel like the shore troopers we got like on Scarif. Like, and I felt like that makes sense because of the environment, but I feel like having shore troopers is almost just like, oh, people associate Cassian with Shore Troopers because of
Troopers.
Rogue One. Let's make
So,
sure we have some.
as
of
long
those
as
It,
they're
in
on
it is
that
on a
that
shore,
beach.
yeah.
It is on a beach.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
Even
also,
still, they're like, this environment goes well with the Cassian vibe.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
like
want
they
to
fit
pull it up?
together.
We can pull up the pictures if you want. I don't know if. you wanna
Yeah,
do
go
it.
ahead.
Or is it? Is
Um,
it?
I would
what's the-
rather someone else do it because I
Oh
have a bad
wait,
connection.
Mud Troopers are the one that are in Solo, right? They have a
Yeah.
similar
Yeah,
helmet.
the
Yes,
Mimban
yes.
Troopers.
Yeah, Mim. Yeah.
We saw the
okay.
short
Mimban,
troopers
Mimban.
in Mando season 2 as well.
So
Silver
I'm
episode.
thinking for Andor, do you think they tie in Saw Gerrera and or Enfys Nest at all?
Enfys Nest, I hope.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Saw, yes.
Yeah,
both,
especially
both
since
is
what's
yes.
her name, Carly Morgenthau.
Right, yeah.
What's the actor? Erin
Yeah,
Kellyman.
Aaron Kellyman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Since she's gonna have a lot more popularity and notoriety now, they'll want to have her face. They're gonna want to bring that character back, 100%.
I could see her in Andor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be
Makes
dope.
sense.
Actually, that would be really really cool.
And
Oh.
therefore, actually, what about? Because I know, like before Solo lost money and kind of like had a bad situation going on behind it, they definitely wanted to continue that story, like with Darth
Yeah.
Maul and Kira.
Yeah,
All of it.
Um,
All of it was supposed to continue.
So it's like, oh, might they dip into that a little bit in there? Get into some of
Maybe.
like get some Chewbacca.
I mean,
get
Star Wars
some-
is always reusing elements from unfinished projects, but I think if Solo is, and honestly, we'll see after Make Solo 2 happen day again this year, because every year it trends #1 worldwide every year
Yeah.
since 2018. But we have that Lando show coming. I think that I think those characters will get their own space. However, I do think specifically Enfys Nest, who's like clearly would evolve into one of the selves of the rebellion, would have a good connection to Cassian Andor. Although I can
Definitely,
also
yeah.
see it totally not connecting at all, because remember, this is Tony Gilroy. This guy doesn't give a shit about Star Wars. This guy wants to make a good story. He wrote Rogue One. He's probably going to play with the elements he knows from Rogue One, or rather,
Right.
redid the end of Rogue One. Gareth Edwards and
That's why we're seeing. Yeah.
Gary Whitta wrote it. But like, if Tony Gilroy is coming in to play with these toys, he knows Saw Gerrera makes sense, established in the timeline, and he knows Cassian, and he knows these elements, and that's what he's going to work with. And I think he's going to tell a
Right.
tale with excitement in that timeline, just on his own. He's not someone who often connects stuff to the wider canon. Like that's not his.
Got
That's
it.
not his. That's not his mo.
I do want to see Enfys Nest. I mean, I know we're all thinking it. Like, give us more Enfys Nest. I do want to see more Enfys Nest eventually, just because I feel like there was more that they kind of wanted to do with her. And I feel like Andor would be like a really good opportunity. But you are right. Like, I don't know if he's ready or wants to necessarily connect it to like sort of the broader scope and connect all these different things in. But like you said, Saw Gerrera would make sense because he was in Rogue One. And that's what Cassian's familiar with that whole. But did Cassian and Saw Gerrera ever meet face to face in Rogue One? I can't remember.
Sorta.
Yes.
I mean,
Sorta.
yeah.
Yeah, when he comes to pick Jin
Just
up and
pick
it's
Jin
all
up.
crumbling.
Yep.
Is it-
Yeah.
Leave.
Right.
Go.
Yeah.
Save the rebellion.
He
Right.
he
Save the
takes
dream.
The mask out. The
That
Then-
was perfect.
the
Right.
the-
So I guess they. I
Lies.
don't know.
Deception.
Because he might be like, I know you. You know.
We'll know the truth.
Yeah, it does. It seems like a different character than the like.
Forrest
the Clone
Whitaker
Wars.
just went insane in that scene. It's
I
so
know he
bizarre.
went bonkers.
But that's part. But that has become part of the character. That performance has become like the development of the character, and by the
Definitely.
end,
right.
like when he just dies, he's just like, oh my god, what have I been doing? Like I have,
Yes.
I have
And if-
just sacrificed my whole life for what? Like this guy's been fighting since. I mean, we see it in Bad Batch, and we see him like he's lost. He loses everything. This guy spends his whole life through war. He's losing limbs. He's losing his humanity, and he like it's so great. It's it's way deeper than you think.
He
Like
goes out like a champ, man.
well, he just goes out
Yeah.
being like God, because Crosshair tells him times change, targets change, and Saw Gerrera is like no, but for Saw, as we see later on in canon, that's absolutely what happens. He'll kill kids, he'll kill people, he'll kill civilians. It doesn't matter to him. Like after he's been fighting for that long, he gets so far out there that the Rebel Alliance is like, dude, you got to stop. Like you're just a literal
Yeah.
terrorist.
We
with
see it in
no-
Rebels. Yeah.
see it in
That's
Rebels,
an
and
awesome
you-
scene when he's talking to Mom.
and you see it, and like even for Saw, like that mental
Yeah.
state of like even in that Clone War or Bad Batch moment, he can lecture these guys, but later on, it's a totally flipped thing.
What's
He'll
Saw's sister's name again?
Steela.
Steela. Yeah, I feel like when she dies, that's like there's no going back for him.
Yeah, that's
after
the
that. Like,
that's the start. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's the start.
That's
And
right.
by the time of Rogue One, he is just like this,
Yeah.
he's just lost it. He doesn't trust anything, and he's he's lost his humanity as a result, and he'll take anyone's life.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and
but-
then just see the kind of comparison between like Clone Wars Saw and then like Rogue One Saw. It's very, very different.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's been awesome to see. Like he's the king of showing up in like sort of, I don't want to say side projects, but like not necessarily like
Wait, you want
mainline
to know?
stuff.
You want to know a fun fact?
Go ahead.
That
yeah.
character was developed for the Star Wars Underworld show. He was
Oh,
supposed
wow.
to be in
1313.
well, not 13.
Saw?
Like 1313 is the game, but Star Wars Underworld is the show that George Lucas was making. Famously,
George
There was
Lucas, yeah.
50 scripts
yeah.
written.
Wait,
and
are
they
you
were-
about? Is that one where they did that test footage on Coruscant?
Yeah, have
where
you
it
seen the
looked- it
pilot?
looked-
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And he was
Yeah.
developed for, and they wrote 50 scripts, and some of those scripts got turned into 1313 and other things. But Saw was part of that show, and they reused him
I
in
would still
Clone
love
Wars,
that.
and that's why he got put into all this other stuff because he was going to be like a main thing.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like fan films
Yeah.
or whatever where they do like basically cops and it'll be like stormtroopers on
Yeah,
Coruscant,
troops.
like just
I've
like
seen-
doing
yeah.
domestic violence calls?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I would
There's
do it.
troops. There's imps. Imps is a great one. Imps the Relentless is a great.
It would be great if they
fan
put
film.
some money behind something like that and actually came out with like a Star Wars like farce show or like a something
Oh,
that
I was
felt
thinking so you know how
like
they
reality
release
television
biomes?
in the Star Wars universe kind of thing.
You know how they showed biomes and it's pretty
Yeah,
cool. It's like
yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking,
yeah,
what if they did
biomes.
like a nature mockumentary, but in Star Wars,
Like
where it
not
has like the
like Nat
narrator.
Geo.
Yeah, like
you got-
David
yeah,
Attenborough,
yeah,
like
yeah.
doing different
Yeah,
species.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
like tauntauns and stuff and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And like Dewbacks,
Porg.
Dewbacks, and like
Honestly,
and the Porg.
I
the
can't
Porg.
believe that Andor is still
Porg.
filming. There's so much. They're
I
putting
know, this
so
thing's been
much
like-
film.
When did they start? They started when
They started like last year.
when the Investors Day.
It didn't
last
have
year,
reshoots,
December,
did
right?
it? Or was it only rewrites?
No, like it's just think about what 12 episodes worth of
They're still going.
full
I
live
thought.
action content is.
Do they get like is Ben Mendelsohn going to be in it?
Maybe. You know?
Maybe. I mean,
don't know.
Are they going to do
we did
CGI
see, like,
Tarkin?
some,
Is Vader going to be in it? Like, is it going to be anything?
Tarkin's
some
definitely
Imperial. We did
no
see
doubt.
some.
Because you would think that during that era, like Vader would be like peak Vader, right? They'd be so powerful at that point.
You'd be going
Probably.
wild.
I think it could be that we see those characters. I think Tarkin's almost for sure though. I think Tarkin's
If they just want to pull
lot.
Rogue One again, and in the last episode, just like
But
pull out
I'm just saying,
Vader.
like, think about that. Like, at the time of the investor call, which was December, they already had footage to show in like a full trailer to the public of like behind the scenes. Like, here's the set we built. Here's the Diego training and costume. Like, we're shooting stuff already. Here's the concept art. Here's all the creatures we made. So almost 6 months later, they're still shooting. Like, there is
Yeah.
so much being put to film. Do you think they're filming
Wait,
seasons
it
1 and 2?
wasn't
back
Bail
to back?
Organa,
No, no,
Bail
no,
Organa,
no.
he should be in it, right? That would be great.
It wasn't 6 months later, was it? How
Well,
long
it's
has it been? It hasn't been 6 months.
I mean, it's been
Wait.
It's been 5 and
Oh
a
yeah,
half.
it has. You're right. Yep.
I'm yeah.
No, it's been 6. Yeah.
yeah, that's
you're
just a
right. I'm
real.
sorry. I
When's
didn't- I
this?
didn't even-
When's this next?
I forgot it was May.
investment
it was
call
May.
with the Disney.
May 13th.
And I didn't realize that they already had one a couple months ago. But now I'm
Yeah,
like,
they
oh
had
my
one-
god, they
had one-
saw
that was
that
the Andor
trailer that
trailer.
Marvel put out with all
was-
the Marvel movies coming
that
out. And they're
was
like,
the-
oh shit, we need to do
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same.
Well, the Investors Call is going to be for not just Star Wars. It's going to be broad.
But I mean, they're gonna have
Right,
to
but
actually
they-
like show some content this time. They're actually gonna
yeah,
have
yeah,
to, like,
yeah, yeah.
show us
That's
some,
it. That's
some,
the
some
hope. That's
Andor.
the hope.
I
Show
mean,
us like
maybe.
a little clip from Visions.
Right.
Show us.
Yeah, it
like,
could just be a
I mean,
pure
for-
like numbers
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, if we're being really cynical, maybe they withheld stuff to show just to investors. on
Right,
that
we didn't
day.
see it. We didn't
Well,
see it on May 4th.
we know they
like
did a
wanted.
little bit, at least a little bit, with the Kenobi concept art.
No. I
Yeah.
mean they held it from May 4th to show on May
Yeah,
13th.
yeah.
Oh,
during
I
the
see, I
call
see, I
to
see.
Be
I'm
like,
sorry. I
hey,
misunderstood.
we got stuff coming, and like just to be totally cynical, like a business decision. So maybe, I mean, the last time they had one
I'm
of those
very
calls,
sorry
we
about my
got
connection today.
The
You
last
know,
time we had
very-
one of those calls was when
Seems fine.
we had the Kathleen Kennedy staying on
Now it is.
confirmation story. That's what came out of the last call. Was
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to stop putting her face on the promotions, man.
Well, they didn't.
Yeah.
Someone called in, an investor called in, was like, "Are ya keeping
Oh, yeah.
Kathleen on?" And
Yeah,
he was
And
like,
they're like,
yeah,
thanks
I
for
saw
your
that.
input. And
Thanks
then
for
they
your
like move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this call, it would make sense to me if they had stuff ready to show, that they
Yeah.
showed it to sort of drive up.
That's the hope.
Yeah. They need to wet the
Yeah.
whistles a little bit.
They
Yeah.
do got to get the wheels turning a bit. on
Yeah,
that
I was.
kinda
I was
stuff.
again. I was saying this. I was saying this off there. I guess I've been kind of talking this all week, but I was a little bit bummed with May 4th. I mean, I did think we were gonna get some stuff. I guess that's like a lot to do with like me, just because I was like hoping that we're getting
Right.
something. But I don't
It
know.
had
was
more to
Can
do
we-
with Marvel, honestly. It had more to do with
Yeah,
Marvel
yeah.
dropping
Marvel
that
too,
freaking
right.
trailer on Monday.
yeah,
and then-
yeah. And then more news.
yeah.
on
That seems like a
Tuesday.
thing they would do at the investors meeting. Like, come
Right.
on.
Yeah. I mean, that felt like a D23 type trailer
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Monday it was a little rough, but you also got to think we did get a 70-minute episode of
No,
it.
I know. I
the
just thought we
premiere
were
of a
gonna get like
show,
some kind of stills. Or
but yeah,
we
no,
talked
I did too. Yeah.
Did you get the set photos to Mike, John?
Yeah. Do you guys want to open it? I'm just worried that like my connection's just not gonna be good. If you guys can.
It's all good. I
Share
can
it.
look it up. There's
look it up on
Cassian
the-
set or Andor set
the-
photos.
Yeah, Levi, you have it right or no?
Well, I thought you sent them to Mike.
All right.
thought that's what you said.
No, I just have them on the Reddit. I was just gonna show
It's
them.
okay.
off.
I'm looking. I'm looking.
Okay. Sorry.
There are many
Um. little-
photos.
Yeah.
Well, I found some footage too. This person like recorded the whole set.
Because
so-
weirdly, so this is the other thing about Andor, they are not using the volume really at all. This is like
Oh.
Yeah.
all on location, all
Yeah.
sets.
Oh,
White-
They're
that's
not much with
right.
Kenobi either, right?
No, Kenobi will be using partially the volume.
yeah.
Partially, okay.
But Andor is almost Andor is almost none. This is why we're getting all these set photos. Like this is
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's all
Entirely
like in
just
the
out in the
open.
open.
It's out.
Yeah.
And the
Andor is
sets
also
they have are cool, man. Like the places they're choosing to film. It's like I'm really interested to see how they turn that into Star Warsy location.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where this place is.
The ones I've seen were all
for
like
these
sort of on a
sets,
beach.
no.
It looked, or like sort of on a coast.
Yeah, no, yeah, it looks like literally just like a. Yeah.
This can all be
I don't
for
know
just
where it
one
is, though.
episode
Yeah,
of the
let
show.
me,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
that too, or a scene, you know.
Yeah, and the
Just
set,
funny.
the set leak
But,
before this was the
Oh yeah.
ISB at the Canary Wharf in London, and they were filming at the train station, where they shot this one the scenes for Rogue One, and I'm sure you guys remember with like it's like the people walking, and then there's like all the, you know what I'm talking about? That was the previous one, and then there was the
Yeah,
giant.
yeah.
Then there's the ship leaks, and then there's the like the huge green screen leaks where they built that whole town, and there was like a bunch of extras in the center, and they're all dressed in like red. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're on about.
Yeah, there's just tons of like they've built so much for this show. It's
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of
That's
life.
cool.
in
I
this
like
show,
I like
think.
that. I like
There's gonna
practical
be-
stuff. So I'm all for it.
I hope we're jumping to a lot of different planets and just a lot
We
of different
definitely are,
atmospheres
yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, no, we
I mean,
definitely
yeah.
are.
Judging by the time that they're taking to make this, I got to assume so.
Right.
I'm putting some pictures in the chat right now, guys. If you want to, or Mike, if you want.
I feel like with fans, it's kind of been having the Falcon and the Winter Soldier effect, or even the WandaVision effect, where people are like, "What? We don't want to see these lame characters that we hardly care about, like with their own series," and then they just all end up being awesome. So like,
Yeah.
I feel like
Right.
Andor, like even Bad Batch, like even with me had that where it's like, really, you're making a show out
Oh,
of this? I'm
dude,
like,
Bad
oh,
Batch,
you're
I'm
making a
deep in
show
now.
out of this.
I'm deep in. I'm like, hell
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I'm full
Sign
into
me up.
Bad
This is-
Batch
this is
now.
great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I love
Right.
it. I think it's great. I think it's solid. I think it's solid. Nothing has like completely blown me away, but it's like I'm really enjoying it so far.
But like just to people that do think like why make a character out of this, like they have a reason for doing it. Like they're not just like yeah whatever, like just pull a character from somewhere, we'll just make a movie out of him. Like it's gonna have like I don't know, there's a reason they're telling, they want to tell these stories and stuff.
I
Yeah.
will say though that is what it was like in the early days. Not to take this conversation to like the totally opposite place, but in like those early days of Disney Lucasfilm, where it was Boba Fett movie, Tatooine
Yes,
movie,
yeah.
Right.
and they were just like throwing crap at the wall, and almost none of it came out.
Right, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That was a weird time.
That
Like,
Boba
now-
Fett movie got teased so many times.
I mean,
I
now
know.
now we're getting to the point where Star Wars, Lucasfilm is sort of getting its feet under it with all this funding, because that's the biggest difference, right? Like Disney does have some involvement, like they make money, they put their name on the box, but like Lucasfilm is still doing the brunt of the creative work and like developing this
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah.
with George, they were making like literally Clone Wars at Lucasfilm,
And
Yeah,
they
that
weren't
was
getting
that was
paid
a
much.
struggle.
They weren't making
and
all
that
yeah.
was it. So
That was a
now,
struggle.
and then when they got all this money and the new bosses, like obviously, I mean, and they started down the path of the sequel trilogy, that didn't work for everyone. These shows take a long time to make, and so
Yeah.
now that they're starting to get their feet under them, they've got season 7 under their belt, they got Mando under their belt. You know, now we're gonna start seeing like the build. Like this is
We're
this
getting.
is what's-
It seems like we're getting Star Wars content like almost every week now at this
Well,
point.
and that's besides that. I just mean like creatively, I think
Oh,
they're
I
going
see.
to
I see.
have a
Yeah.
strong sense of direction now. And
Yeah.
the before
Oh,
they
yeah.
didn't because everything was so new. They
I
got
was
all
under
this
that
money.
impression.
Like,
I
what do
mean,
we make?
even with the investors call in December, I was like, wow, yeah, they really got a plan.
I think if Lucasfilm puts out a trailer like Marvel just did,
here,
and
so
gives us like a
I agree.
taste of some things coming up, that like,
Some
or
more
like
solid
specific,
dates,
I think
even
yeah.
just
we're
release
getting a
dates.
slate.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a slate at the investors call. I'm pretty confident in that.
And if you start where the first
at
minute of
least.
the trailer is like what they did, where it's just like a recap of some nostalgic Star Wars stuff that gets you all like
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
mood, and you're all like, I love Star Wars, and then they show you the new stuff, like that's
Right.
It literally just hits you and hits you and hits you.
yeah.
It's like,
The
here's
people
this,
that
here's
the
this,
people that
here's
edit
this.
those trailers for a living, like, good job, man. It gets
Yeah,
you, like, yeah.
Honestly.
Trailer making
Yep.
is like an art form to its own.
Don't get them to edit your movie though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looking at you,
Suicide
Warner
Squad.
Brothers.
Suicide Squad.
All right,
Shut
dudes.
up.
Is there anything like Levi? You said you like particularly loved this episode. Is
did.
there anything else from this episode that like you
did.
want to talk about before we wrap it up for the day?
I mean, it was really just because. And another thing is, it's obviously so much shorter than the last one.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just,
Easier
it
to
was just the,
digest.
it was just the vibe. It just felt so much. This was like the Bad Batches in Star Wars. In that first initial episode, and by the way, I think this is the best start we've had to any show.
100%.
Period.
Yeah.
Like this is a great
Yeah.
start. Like I'm
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
definitely. Yeah. I mean,
But,
it's
like,
better than Clone Wars or Rebels started out.
The first episode, I was initially taken aback by the retcon thing or the change thing, which they do mention to their credit. Like they don't just ignore it. Like on the website, on Star Wars' website, they're like, yeah, we took
So
cues from
bitter
it
about
and like
it. So
and like
bitter
whatever.
Right.
about it.
But I've come to terms with it. So now Johnny.
But it's also not a reflection of the episode.
I just
you know?
read the comments.
no,
so
exactly. It's not a reflection. It's not a reflection of the episode. And so upon second rewatch, enjoyed it. I gave it an 8.5. I'd say great, good time.
Yeah.
But seeing these characters start to develop for the first time, like knowing that okay, this is not. It wasn't just like the 70-minute movie. This is a show, and we're gonna get this build. And like seeing Cut again, and a lot of these moments, the Uncle Wrecker thing. I don't know. That really hit me. I love that. I seeing that character knew these kids and like just putting them in.
Wrecker
Yeah,
in
yeah.
civilian clothes.
Putting
I
them in
love
this
that.
world
I loved
and
it with the hat.
seeing the
Yeah.
clones, and I love Echo and I love Tech, and like they
It
have
gives me
great,
such a bad feeling though, because I feel like they keep making Wrecker more and more lovable, and it's like, oh, he's
Gonna
more and more
die.
killable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, no,
and
no,
just
no,
the
no.
And
no,
they
no,
show
no.
him literally like go over a tripwire and then immediately trip another tripwire, and it's like, oh, he's
Right.
he's so
Yeah.
lucky that he's not dead. Like he's definitely gonna die.
But I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
it was,
want
just,
him to,
it was
but-
it was something about it that just I think it's because and I think everyone felt here that it felt like Rebels. It felt more like Rebels, and Rebels
Yeah.
definitely
Good
is meant
Rebels.
To, is
Yeah.
meant to
Good
is,
Rebels.
is meant to evoke that like 1977 Ralph McQuarrie esque like Star
Yeah.
Wars vibe, and so I was getting that from this, and I was like, I'm in it. I'm here for it.
The land speeder. I mean, even if you purely on sound effects, like we were talking about that earlier.
Right.
I'm in it. I love it.
Yeah. I liked I really liked Echo's reaction to hearing about Rex, where like he hasn't really had time to really probably even think about his other friends, or the people that he's with, and then he hears Rex was just here, and he's like, oh, whoa, yeah, Rex, him, like what's going on with him?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Echo was interesting because he got a little pissed at one point when he was with Tech when they were
Yeah.
trying to get the shuttle the Havoc Marauder out of the port or
Yeah.
something like that, whatever they were doing.
I missed some things because during the watch party, y'all kept yapping over stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm trying to watch. It was too quiet for me. The episode.
Owie.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
That's why I said I was like during this I was like, don't worry, audience. I watched this without these fools later again. So I can
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
hear
yeah.
what's going on.
I will be silent. I will be silent next
3
week.
No,
a.m.
Don't
it's
be
good.
silent. That
Good
was on me
content.
because I just had my volumes all wrong, but it was getting
Yeah,
frustrating.
fix your volumes, man.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I wanted to bring up one thing. Vice Admiral Rampart, who we saw in the hologram, as they were.
Yeah,
as
first
they were
Oh,
appearance
like reading the
flying.
propaganda in the streets.
So
Yeah, first
he
appearance
of
he,
the
he
new
seems like he's gonna have a pretty
That was
big
like one of
role
the
in
more like
show.
Rebels kind of looking scenes in that episode.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot
Yeah,
of
with
those
the
like
big
propaganda
hologram.
holograms. Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna. It seems like he's
Lothal.
gonna have a big role in the show because there is a
There's
Black Series
a
figure.
Black
of
Series
him coming
figure
out.
of him.
That's
Yeah.
incorrect, but that's another rant for another time.
Oh, that's right. I saw
Um,
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
I
he's
think
important enough to
he-
make an action figure out of.
Right. So I think he's gonna be pretty prominent in the show. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And the voice actor tweeted about it, like, I'm so excited for you guys to see what I have to do. And on that box, you see an Imperial Star Destroyer,
Yep.
like
Yep.
the toy box. And so, like, I don't know, it could be some fun things we're going to see.
Nice.
Action
Yeah.
figure box.
Action figure box.
Yeah,
Yes.
not a doll. It's not a doll.
All right, guys. Is that anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up? episode 2 wise?
Episode 2, I mean, like I said, it's a short episode, so there's not
Good
too much
ep.
to digest.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it.
8.5 out of
It
10.
oh yeah,
for
there is
me.
one more thing in that regard. In terms of it being shorter, like that makes it a lot easier for us. I know you guys are doing watch-alongs now, but reacting, it's really easy to
I
edit it.
do it later.
So do we think the episode lengths are gonna like vary quite a bit, or are they all gonna be pretty
Yeah.
much like
I think
25
they're gonna
minutes?
be
I
about
think they're gonna vary.
half an hour.
Well, next one was
You think they'll
33,
vary?
right? With
Okay, so it's gonna
credits.
be like 20-30 minutes.
Hey,
I
like
could be
that.
wrong on that. Yeah, I could be wrong.
Don't count
But-
on any more
Levi, you
70-minute
do think that
episodes.
they're gonna vary? Like,
Yeah, I think it's going to
drastically?
be the same as I don't know drastically, but I think it's going to be the same as Clone Wars season 7.
Yeah,
We
and
get-
since they're not on
Right.
television or like
Was
like
season
they
7
used to
crazy
be,
with times? Like,
it's
they
not
get-
on.
Dude, season 7, Wings of Caradax was 17
Yeah.
minutes long. And so
it
it's
doesn't
like,
need
Oh.
commercials or to fit into half an hour or whatever. They can actually, because of
Exactly.
streaming, they can do it. the
I
way it
didn't even
needs to be done.
consider that's like a
Right.
thing shows
Yeah.
have to do on
Yeah.
Yeah, and
cable,
Clone Wars would
you
have
know?
been. Clone Wars
Yeah.
was
like that. Yeah.
yeah, it was
yeah,
like that.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So that's good, and I like that. Yeah, like I said, it's easier to get a reaction out. But the last piece of news was that they moved Loki to Wednesdays now.
Yeah,
And-
Marvel Wednesdays and Star Wars Friday.
And I actually admit it. They probably should have just started Bad Batch on Wednesdays or whatever, or like had Bad Batch be like
Oh,
release
wait,
episode.
you want it the other way around?
Well, I feel like Loki is going to be bigger than Bad Batch. And
Yeah,
just in terms of
definitely.
viewership.
No. Yes.
Yeah, okay. I was like,
oh yeah.
yeah.
no.
Well, it's
So
just like
I'm 100%
animated.
glad that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
that I'm glad we're getting it
Um,
this way because I'm
I don't mind.
selfish, but I feel like it would have been
Yeah,
better if they
could
had
you
Bad
imagine if
Batch
there was
Wednesdays
two
and then Loki on
episodes
Friday.
for two shows that we were both
Yeah,
watching? and
that'd be
then had to make
crazy.
videos
It would
about
be
it?
like Disney competing with itself, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Although I see a lot of people saying that they don't think that was Disney the motivation behind changing it like that. That it
Definitely
was.
was.
You
I
think
think
so?
so.
That's why I was like, well,
I
then why
think
would they have just
partly,
released Bad Batch
yeah.
on Wednesday to begin with?
Uh,
Because they would
Yeah, I
know
don't
that
know.
Loki is going to
Oh,
be like,
I'm sorry. I misinterpreted what you're saying. I think
Loki's probably going to be more popular than WandaVision and Falcon. and
right.
I
the
think
Winter
what
Soldier.
happened. I think what happened was they thought that they could have both on the same day, and
Yeah.
then when Bad Batch did better than they thought,
Yeah. Okay.
they suddenly they changed it. They were like, okay, oops. Because they
No,
did the same.
but they
did the same thing
literally
with Clone
changed
Wars.
it the next day though, right? They changed it like.
Exactly. I think they saw
Yeah,
the
that's
reaction to
true.
Bad Batch was stronger.
So they called up Tom Hiddleston. They're like, we need you to like do this. We're gonna film this video where we're switching
Tom-
it to,
knowing,
like.
knowing them, they probably
Oh.
filmed something like that just in case in advance.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was my initial
I
instinct
think
that they
I
didn't
think it
want
was a
them to
little
compete.
pre-planned. I think they just announced. I don't think it was that sudden.
Well, that's a
It was-
weird time to announce it. They
Realize it.
should have moved it as soon as they.
I mean, it's
Yeah, 'cause you
annoying
would've
enough to
think they
begin
would've-
with that it's 3 a.m. for us on the East Coast. Like, and
No.
So
even
annoying.
midnight on the West Coast seems kind of like. Why
I'm
can't
gonna
they
be
make
I'm
it
gonna be on the West
9
Coast
p.m.
at
on West
some
Coast?
point in the next month. But
Okay, so here,
Yeah.
here we go. I finally found the third episode. The third episode has a 28-minute runtime,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and it says the
Okay.
Bad Batch
Which means more like
replacements-
25 minute.
what was episode 2? 33? Is that what you
31.
said?
The first
31.
Oh, okay,
episode-
so I had
episode
missed
2 was
it.
31. So there's
Okay.
3 minutes less of episode 3. Unfortunately.
So yeah, it is gonna be like
Sorry.
it is gonna be relatively the same, probably time wise, around the 30-minute mark, anyways. And then maybe the finale, or we'll get like a longer episode again or something
But
like
like,
that.
listen to this description before we sign off here. Like, the batch gets stuck on a desolate moon. I don't think that we're seeing any of that stuff that we've seen in the trailers. Like that.
No,
all
I
does
don't
not
either.
seem-
Yeah, I mean,
does
Fennec
not-
was in like a city, like she was like.
Yeah, that does not seem. That does not
speeding-
seem like desolate moon hunting, getting hunted down kind of stuff.
No, it does not.
I think what we're seeing is the shots from the trailer where we see those elite squad troopers like with the flamethrowers like coming after them like in the wilderness and like people hunting for them.
Although at
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
time, like you don't necessarily want the entirety of the season to be a chase, like from planet to planet. Like, oh, you just missed us, or because
I think that's exactly what it's going to be.
you think really that's kind of what we're doing. They're gonna
Yeah.
just barely escape like 6 or 7 times in a row, and then
Well, no, but there will
Yes.
be an element of
because like if you're thinking ahead of time about how they would want it, like
Chase.
if you think about like the Death Troopers or Dark Troopers stealing Grogu, like like maybe Omega will get kidnapped at some point,
Smashed.
or
Yeah, at
they'll
one
they'll
point,
actually
yeah.
steal her, and then the Bad Batch, rather than like do the smart thing and like save themselves, they'll be like, no, she's one of us. We
We
have
gotta
to
go
get
back.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think they might return to Camino. Like they
Fair.
might steal her back there, and they're gonna be like, there may be some kind of like, like forget her or whatever. But yeah, I think Hunter
Right.
will be the one to be like, no, we got to go get her.
I wonder
That's
who
my-
would be the
that's
one
my
to be
guess.
like, we gotta move. Like maybe.
Or is it
Tech.
like
Well,
they'll
I
be
think-
they'll be directly putting themselves in danger, obviously, by going into where people that are chasing them are going to be in order to save her. That makes
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that going down for sure.
I can
my
see
call.
that, yeah. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
maybe, yeah, Omega does something dumb, gets kidnapped.
I don't know. This show just isn't that long. These are 22-minute episodes, or they're longer. But
I feel like to be a little close to Mando, but I don't know.
with the hunting thing, no, I think it's going to be. I don't think it's.
No, no,
six
I
or
mean
seven.
like.
The kidnap.
No, I don't.
I mean,
I,
like,
I don't know
oh,
if
they
that's
get
happening,
kidnapped,
but I just
okay.
think it's going to be a few. You like next episode. I think is when we introduce Bad Crosshair and the people hunting them. We get like
Yeah.
a scene there. We get a couple episodes of them doing
Nice.
mercenary jobs. Then they run into each other again. You know, Tarkin probably puts the bounty out on them. We get
Yeah.
Fennec, and you just sort of weave the story. That's when you run into Rex, and like Rex is doing his thing. But like, there will be times where they line up, where they cross
Oh,
paths.
we saw a poster with Omega with her bow, bow.
Holding out for a Meeber Gascon.
Boner.
Meeber Gascon.
Yes.
Meeber Gascon.
I am.
Yeebs.
I
Oh,
am.
yeah.
Beebs.
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 All right,
Beebs.
guys. we've run out of things to say. When
Yeah,
we're
we've hit
talking
the
about
Meeber- we've hit the
Gascon.
Meeber-
Yeah.
the Meeber.
Once you hit the Meeber meter.
The Meeber minute.
Where are we on the Meeber?
All right, guys.
Meter.
That's it for today. Thanks for joining us, everybody. All the guys that are usually here. Mandy. Oh, OG and Alyssa. Sorry you guys came here late. That's all good.
And
The replay will be on here, and hopefully
Yeah.
you guys will watch that.
Lavelle.
Lavelle, thanks for being here. Hustle Mando, Game Guy,
Mando.
all you guys. Magic Fire,
Magic
thanks for
Fire.
being here, guys. And guys, if you haven't been over to All New Nerds yet, I know most of you have at this point. I know you guys are, but we are sister
Yeah.
channels now. So we,
Sister channels.
although I guess you could say brother channels, but
Yeah.
Whatever you
Well,
want to say. Whatever you wanna say.
sister brother, we are sibling channels. There
Sibling
we go.
Sure,
There you
sure.
go. Why bring gender into this?
But yeah, guys, go over to All New Nerds. Make sure you check out their content. They got a lot of good guests, and you guys said you have some even more good guests coming up
Yeah.
soon,
Yeah,
right?
HoloNet Marauders on Monday.
And we were just
Wow.
on Everyday Geek, so go check out that.
Yeah, and Dylan on the show.
I was over on the showcast on Spotify, so we're kind of all around right now. We're branching out.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, guys. It was good talking to you, and we'll. Oh wait, you got one more thing to say, Levi?
No.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Does
I
he?
was looking at the stream.
Nope.
It's like
Levi
30
is out
seconds
of things
behind,
to
so I'm
say.
like I'm
Yeah,
watching
yeah, yeah.
Levi go like this in the camera, and it's like that's you.
Speak
30
now or
seconds
forever
ago.
hold your peace.
Thanks for being
All
here, guys.
See y'all.
Peace.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Everybody.
A good one, guys. Dylan.
6 outros later.